It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. We are at episode number 81. We're filming this live between Asif and I on June 10th, 2012. On today's show, oh boy, the new Foursquare takes recommendations and LevelUp raises money to compete. Google brings Streetview to the knapsack. Denny's giving away a lifetime of free slams. Plus, our top funding stories, our resource of the week, special guest Jim Bak, Director of Communications at Inrix. Whew, man, what a show. Can you believe? We don't even get paid to do this. Live from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob Woodbridge. With me, as always, apparently what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
That's right. Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association in Las Vegas and representing the Toronto Blue Jays. And as you may know, Vegas is where the farm team is, the 51. So, hey, making it happen.
Blue Jays, yes, of course. In Vegas, what you see behind Asif right there is the Wynn Tower, the main tower, and he's obviously there for a conference and speaking as he does. I think that we were on a roll there. We had you in Toronto for one weekend.
I know.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. And I'm like, and I don't even get back until like Friday night again because I'm going from here to Banff for the television festival. So there you go.
Yeah, but that's fun. The television festival is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Being in Vegas is not fun.
No.
But that's what you're supposed to say, Asif, right?
No, it's not fun. It's not fun.
All right, we have a compressed time because of your schedule, so we should talk about this before we even get into the stories, which we've got some great stories about SweetIQ. We've got some great stories, TJ Maxx, obviously some stuff about Foursquare and Denny's. Tell us about something that you want to push, which is the June 20th event in Toronto for the LBMA.
Yeah, so we've mentioned this before, but our next event in Toronto is called Checking into Content, and so we're going to look at sort of the non-check-in, check-in, the idea of engaging with other media, billboard, television, radio, online, etc., based on where you are and that connection between location and media. And so it's going to be a great event. We got some good speakers lined up. Mediacom is going to be involved with that. CBC, the national broadcaster in Canada. We're going to have some input from stopped.at, the online check-in service, so it should be really cool. And just while I'm on the topic of LBMA events, we had a fantastic launch of the LBMA in Montreal this past week, so I just want to thank everybody for who came out and supported that. Looking forward to our next events there as well. So that's it.
This though, Asif, is that the June 20th event in Toronto is free for LBMA members, and it's only $40 if you're not an LBMA member. I don't know why you're not an LBMA member to begin with. So check that out. You just go to thelbma.com/events. Look for the June 20th one in Toronto. Also in Toronto, well, you know what I'm going to push here. We are 2 weeks away here from Untethered Talks. We now have confirmed 25 speakers for this event, including Mr. Asif Khan, who is going to tackle the fact that the check-in is no longer, location is no longer valid. It's going to be fun. We got Amber Mack, Damien Patton, the CEO of Banjo. We've talked about them many times. Worley, the chief scientist for Chaotic Moon Labs. We've got Doug Stevens. We've got Yasser Ansari, who has been on this show as well from Project Noah. Scott Kveton from Urban Airship, who's been on this show. Sydney Matrix. Janice Diner, who is brand new. We're bringing her in to talk about, obviously, the social side of mobile and its impact. It's going to be great. June 26th, 27th at the Glen Gold Studio. Get your tickets now. We are going to sell out for sure. We have fewer than 80 tickets left, 80 seats left. So I would do this if you don't wait. Don't wait. Because we can only fit so many people in the Glen Gold Studio. It's small. Going to be intimate. Can't wait. Going to be a blast. I got nothing else to punch. So let's jump into it. What do you say? Top stories?
Let's do it.
Well, we're going to start off with the launch of this product called SweetIQ. I do have a video about this. Do you want me to just play the video and we'll see what we can do here? But this is a pretty interesting piece of technology. So we're going to play it. We're going to come back and then we're going to have a little discussion about it. So here comes SweetIQ.
Today's Consumers are searching for local businesses and products on all kinds of online channels, like search engines, social networks, and mobile apps. So it's important that they can find your business anytime and everywhere. Customers are also expressing themselves by checking in, writing reviews, liking, commenting, and tweeting. And it's not always good stuff. There's just a huge amount of information to manage. As a marketer, it's your job to make sense of it and stay on top of it all, so your business outshines the competition. That's where SweetIQ can help. It uses machine learning technology to cut through the clutter. It will increase your online presence, improve your brand visibility, and drive customer engagement. SweetIQ shows you where you are listed and provides actionable recommendations that tell you where you need to get listed. SweetIQ alerts where they're talking, keeping an eye on reviews and social mentions. Most importantly, SweetIQ gives you the best opportunities to convert online engagements into in-store sales. Streamline your location-based marketing activities today. SweetIQ.
All right, Asif, it seems pretty obviously this is geared towards a marketer. This service is. Why don't you kind of give a brief description? You know, we just heard the video, but that's the marketing spiel. What's your take on the launch of this product?
I think it's a great product. And first of all, I mean, you know, these guys were front and center at our event last week in Montreal. They were the launch partner and key sponsor of our event there. So I want to thank them for that. And they used the event to basically make this announcement. And so the SweetIQ is born out of a predecessor company called Get Me Listed. And really, this is the evolution. This platform really is the evolution of tools for local search and local listings. And so if you think about that industry, and you think about, you know, a business owner and, you know, managing their place listing information and all of the local search optimization around that, you know, obviously there's been a lot of tools and a lot of service providers in that space for a lot of years. But what's been missing is combining those services together with all of the emerging stuff around place data and check-ins and everything else from Foursquare and Google Places and Facebook, et cetera, and putting that all in one package that makes it easy for the business to have access to, you know, managing all of it in one place, having all the tools necessary to sort of control it and optimize it and aggregate check-ins and kind of, you know, look at the analytics aspects of performance across all, you know, all of those and look for opportunities to improve. So I really like this platform, and I think they've done a good job of kind of putting everything together in one spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, there are a lot of services like this. At least I think there are, because they all use the same language around what they're talking about. So, but I like the way that they've done this. I'll pull it up their website right now, which is like they say, look, increase your venue presence, which is really cool. So it says, you know, see where customers are finding you and get recommendations on where you need to have local listings, which is really cool. I haven't seen a lot of that going on. And it's actionable. Manage brand and visibility and drive customer engagement, which is basically how to close a deal when they're in store or near store. So I like this. But there are a lot of companies out there that are doing this, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a ton of guys in the sort of local search and optimization piece. You know, but really, what we're talking about is local search plus check-ins plus analytics plus reputation management, plus all the things that go to, you know, sort of that glue all that together, trying to putting it all in one platform. So I think that's what they've done. You know, because I think historically you've got to go and you know, do this by using multiple different providers.
Yeah, and that's what anybody who can make this easier, so that you can actually get on the business of actually building your business instead of managing your social networks. I think that's the best thing that you can possibly do.
Exactly.
It's cool. SweetIQ. Go to SweetIQ.com for more information. Great video. You can sign up to request a demo there. Good on them. Glad that they picked the LBMA event to launch the product. It just shows the traction that you're getting, man. I love it. All right, second story. We each chose a story that we're going to rip. So I think this is yours, right? TJ Maxx launching their mobile campaign with people.com. I think this is an interesting one in the way that they've done this and what they've chosen to push through people, the online version of people.com. So what is your take on this?
So first of all, I'll give them full credit for you know, doing something location-based, mobile advertising optimized based on location. I think everybody should be doing that. So, you know, kudos to TJ Maxx for doing that.
Right. Now,
what I like about it is I can't understand any retailer or brand who in 2012, in the middle of 2012, doesn't have a mobile website yet. A big retailer like this, with multiple, I mean, this is TJ Maxx. They own Marshalls. They own Winners up here in Canada, where we are. They own a lot of stuff. You got to think that they're doing this. So the fact that they're running these mobile ads on People.com's website, okay, that's cool. I think there's some good traction there. The fact that you can, find stuff based on your location, find the closest TJ Maxx store to where you are based on the ad that you're seeing, and to optimize around that, and getting discounts and so on. That all makes sense to me. I just don't get that. The whole aspect of not having a mobile website. Just that part is neither do they have an e-commerce website.
No.
And their argument is that the products vary from store to store. So why would we do that? Okay. I think it's a missed opportunity.
You know what? It's a complete missed opportunity on their part. And they're targeting electronics, right? Which is a unique thing. We understand that you've got limited space on a banner ad inside of an app like this, so people.com, and you want to create awareness that you actually sell electronics. But it's a mix. It's not the right mix. Like, you know what? I'm reading People magazine, and location-based focus on electronics because I'm reading People magazine near a TJ Maxx store isn't going to drive foot traffic. And you know what? Quite frankly, the idea that they don't have an e-commerce or mobile commerce play, and that they're pushing people into the store and they don't have the right inventory, or they can't push direct product based on where I am, means that they're failing on all fronts. So good on them for getting into mobile, but this is not effective. This is not effective at all. Boy, because there's context that people can add, like time of day, like. You can if I'm at lunch, I don't know. Like there's things that they can do.
I'm sure they're getting some traction with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. But you got to think that they could be getting a lot more, right? If they actually had a mobile place to drive it, as well as the physical location.
Yeah, physical location is great. Like I believe that mobile is definitely something that you should be driving people to a physical location. But if you can't at all, then allow them to buy. Don't get them engaged, and then don't allow them to buy. Right?
Yeah.
Don't
exactly.
force them that way. And this is it's an odd thing. But TJ Maxx, I think you were a lot nicer than I would have been on them, Asif. But that's okay.
Okay. Hey.
TJ Maxx launching their mobile campaign, and it's going to be a harsh reality for them. Good luck. Good luck. All right, the third story. This is a great one. We haven't even talked about Foursquare yet, so we're saving Foursquare. But the third story is around Google Maps, and I'm going to pull up a picture for this because this is kind of crazy. Who in their right mind is going to wear a 40-pound knapsack? Like for Streetview. I think this is one of the coolest technologies. But my goodness, it looks a little awkward. Somebody in one of the comments said that I was reading at Engadget said, "Yeah, definitely not going to get laid with that on his back." Right? Yeah. What do you think, Asif? This is pretty cool. Great technology.
Yeah, I think it's great that they're trying to fill in the gaps, and take Streetview sort of off-road, so to speak. And they've also got their, I think it's called Trike, which is their bicycle version as well. So, I mean, they're doing everything they can do in terms of, mapping every piece of the planet that they can possibly map. So I like it. Again, I don't know who's going to wear the thing either, but I like the technology, and I applaud the effort to try and complete some mapping. There's a couple other pieces to this announcement as well from Google. Beyond just the backpacking piece that I can quickly touch on. So they've also responded with this latest update to Google Maps with going offline as well. I don't know if you saw that part.
Yeah, Rob. I think that's great.
So basically, you can look stuff up on Google Maps, and then you can send it to yourself. And so when you're in a place where you don't have Wi-Fi or access to GPS, you can still pull up the map and basically download it to your device and look at it offline. You can't zoom in on anything, but you can at least have that map there and look at it, which is a nice little piece. And I guess the third little layer on this is Apple supposedly is going to announce next week that they are officially dropping Google Maps altogether, and launching their own mapping service with iOS 6. So, I guess Google is basically ramping up and saying, hey, we gotta up our game on maps here, and show Apple what they're missing.
Well, they are, yeah. I think that this is I like this, but just simply because I think that they're doing a great service to this, to map all of these places that you can map. They're talking about putting it on on the knapsack and skiing down hills, so you get a view of what a mountain looks like when you're skiing down the hill. Yeah. And I think it's pretty cool. I think it's frivolous. I think in a time and era, I think that they have to maintain this. I see the Google car in Ottawa driving around all the time. And I've trained my kids to be able to say, Dad, there's a Google car. So we make funny poses and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're all over it. But it's one of these things. Is it a distraction? And then you start to think about the local implications around this on commerce and retail.
Some families chase tornadoes, Rob.
Yeah. That's right. We chased the Google car. Well, it's interesting. I love that they push this technology. I love that Google does this, and I'm so happy that they didn't kill this project when they've gone through their assessments of what projects to keep. But they have to. They're at some point going to have to turn this into revenue. But while they don't, I think they're advancing this kind of technology. And pretty soon, that's just going to be able to fit on a hat, like the old beer hats. You're going to have just cameras on your head instead.
There you go.
So I mean, I like this. As an investor in Google, I'd be a little concerned maybe because there's such a distraction.
What if you had cameras and beer on the same hat?
Wow, my God. I just think they should equip the entire planet.
Be one wobbly backpacker.
Well, exactly. But you know what? What's great about this is that this thing has a mechanism inside. It's built on Android, and it has a mechanism inside. It's smart enough to understand the way that you walk and adjust the picture based on your particular walking process. So, like if you have a slight lean or you have a limp, it'll adjust so it takes clear pictures, and that's the stuff that's advancing technology. Very cool. But I think that they're doing that, but they should just pay for everybody to buy everybody on the planet a GoPro, head camera, and then just stream it to the cloud.
There you go.
All right. Google Maps backpacking with Streetview, very cool. Do you want to attack Foursquare right now?
Let's do it. Well, let's talk about your favorite story.
All right, let's jump. Let's talk about Denny's for a second here before we get in. We'll finish with Foursquare. This is the fourth story. Denny's is launching their 50-state challenge app. Asif, explain this to everybody because it's on first blush, it sounds like a brilliant idea. And I'll explain in a second why I don't think it's a brilliant idea.
So the idea is it's summer. People are on road trips across the U.S. Hopefully traveling, spending money, helping the economy. When you're on a road trip across the U.S., you're maybe prone to stop at a Denny's, and so they want to encourage people to do that. And so they've created this 50-state challenge called the Tour of America, and they've created a menu around this for the summer. And so basically, you check in at Denny's. You can receive badges like Foursquare and other incentives, meal discounts, free menu items, et cetera, et cetera. There's coupons, all that sort of stuff. So that's all cool. There's a local leaderboard piece of this for people who've checked in more than others. And basically, what they're saying is the challenge part of this is if you are the first person to check in at a Denny's in all 50 states, you win the grand prize of free Grand Slam breakfast for life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And your mother said you would never amount to anything.
There you go.
In your face, Mom. Free slams from Denny's. All right, so you know what? On first blush, this sounds like a smart thing to do. And I thought about this for so long. I'm like, yeah, this is smart. This is smart. And then I thought, wait a second. I take my kids to Denny's. We call it the Egg Restaurant. I'm not proud, but it's a cheap place to get fast pancakes. But we go to that Denny's every time. Like there's one Denny's around the corner that we go to. I don't go to 7 different ones in the city. I certainly don't go to different ones in different provinces or states, right? What about the loyal customer? What about rewarding the guy who comes in every day? Now, what you're doing is you're rewarding a transient population. You're rewarding somebody who's floating around the country, a trucker basically, who's going from state to state because it's going to be up there for a year. What about rewarding that person that checks in 50 times into your restaurant? That is more important.
That's where, there's no details in this, but I think that's where, if they are going to do local leaderboard, that's the only place where you can do it in this current iteration of their offering. So, incent people to be the local champion as well. That makes sense.
But give us
the other part of this. So if you're the first person to check in all 50 states, you get the thing, but you can also team up with other people and create teams of 3 apparently across the U.S. And so if you've got a friend on the West Coast and you're in the East Coast and you got somebody in the middle, you can team up and you can all go try and visit these things. And if you're the first 3 a team to do this, you also get slams. So hey,
you know what? Here it's like I've had a dream that when my kids are 11 or 12, maybe even 9, depending, I will take them on a cross-country tour of every baseball stadium. I think every baseball fan has had this. Just go from stadium to stadium, hit all of the stadiums across the country.
And you're going to stop at a Denny's on the way.
That's what I've changed my dream. My dream has now been changed to going to every Denny's in every state. God. And I will get the slam. I will get it.
All right.
You know what? First blush, sounds smart. Second blush, reward your local guys more so than the ones that are transient. That's the lesson here. Reward the people who are already your customers because customers are fleeting. They're going to go somewhere else if you don't reward them, if you don't keep them happy. All right. Let's stop ripping on Denny's. And good luck. Good luck on the Denny's 50-state challenge. All right, last story. This is actually a good story. Foursquare version 5.0 came out last week. Rumors all over 5.0. This is big news for them because of what they've done, which is a complete revamp. What's your take on this, man?
Well, I mean, I think Dennis Crowley basically came out and said that when they look at the data, people aren't checking in anymore, and it's there's got to be other value because we still have 20 some odd million users that are using the platform, but they're using it to explore. They're using it to the other features of Foursquare, and so I think that's interesting to hear him come out and say that. First of all, I think second is this idea of focusing on recommendations now, makes sense. I think if we look at the 3-year history of Foursquare and its ilk, the Gowalas and Wares and everybody else. I mean, really, those businesses are about collecting a lot of data about where we've been, what we've done, what our friends, where our friends have been, and what our friends have done. And so, all of that data leads to the ability to make recommendations on things that we should like or places we should go. And I think that's ultimately where this sits at the moment. And I think it makes sense. It's just a natural. For me, it's a natural progression of where it needs to go. I don't ultimately feel that Foursquare is going to be the big winner in all of this in the end. But I think in terms of surviving, doing what they need to do to raise capital, to continue to raise capital, potentially going public. I hope they don't even think about that. But anyways, it's a good step. Let's just say that.
I don't use Foursquare very often. I use it as a secondary tool. So if, for example, I take a picture with Instagram, I'll check it into Foursquare if there's a location. If it's relevant, or Path, I'll do the same thing. I really stepped away from Foursquare, and but I'll tell you, when it came out, I was in Toronto last week, and I was dying for some good sushi, and we were on King West. And, I basically said, listen, find me a sushi restaurant, Foursquare. Do not fail me, Foursquare. And guess what?
Yeah.
On Queen, about a half a mile away, was this great restaurant that we went into. It was awesome. Checked in with that, saying, listen, it was a great spot on Foursquare. A whole bunch of people came back in my social graph, said, hey, that's our spot. That's our spot. So I felt compelled to say that it actually did help me find what was going on. And big data like this, when you crunch it all together, This is huge because you've got all those recommendations, and I still think here, you know what? The perfect play for this right now is Yelp, Foursquare,
yes,
put together one company, dominant.
Agree with that.
Yeah,
Rob.
because I don't think that either of them are going to do this on their own, and they're not. There's no revenue here for this kind of stuff. But what they've done, the interface is beautiful. They've taken away from the check-in focus. You know, they've actually made it fat finger friendly. It was very cumbersome before, and you know what? The one thing that I saw was that remember. They're basically, what was their pinging engine that they were using? Radar. They've buried that somewhere. I can't find it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think Radar and Save to Foursquare are two of the greatest features this company could ever put out. They've got where is that? Where is that stuff that we need here? Maybe I'm missing it. And if you find it, if you know where it is, please reach out and let me know, because those were two things that I really, really, really want to see. I wanted to see in version 5. So
cool.
Foursquare, Yelp.
There you go.
Somebody's got to.
Foursquare 5.0, Yelp. Get it done.
Somebody buy somebody and don't let Facebook buy you, but don't say no either. Take the money. Those are the 5 stories. You know, what do you think of those? We got SweetIQ launched, TJ Maxx getting roasted by Asif, Google Maps and the knapsack from hell. You think books were bad? Now that we've taken all the books and put them on a Kindle or on an iPad, hey, stick a camera on there. Foursquare version 5.0, Denny's, their 50-state app. What do you think? Do we miss anything? Those are the great stories, Asif. All right, on to our special guest. We talk about big data, we talk about Foursquare, and the fact that they've got 2 billion check-ins, and they're going to crunch that data with your social graph and everything that your friends are doing and everything else. Well, what about automobiles? What about the big data that comes from automobiles, and what can you do with that? And with a company like Inrix, that we talked about them way back, they closed $30-something million in revenue. I sat down with Jim Bak a few months ago, actually less than a few weeks ago, and we talked about the impact that big data is having on a number of things. And their focus really as a company is to get you from point A to point B faster and cheaper. And they do it by data. And it is very cool when you take this huge amount of data that's coming off of all of these cars, all these devices, and enable people to get from A to B faster. So I'll leave it with Jim, who is the Director of Communications at Inrix, to fill in the blanks. This is one of these things that gets me very excited when we talk about implementing big data and into small screens. This is where the future goes. So without further ado, here's Jim Bak from Inrix. Certainly looking for leading indicators, economic leading indicators, right? So, you know, we have the Walmart index for retail, and we certainly have Amazon for digital retail. But one of the great things that you just identified is that, you know, I'm in a high-tech town. Ottawa, Canada is considered one of what we used to be called Silicon Valley North. We had massive startups, and Nortel was based out of here, and certainly QNX and RIM have a huge presence here in Ottawa, and it's a very tech-oriented town. But when the tech boom busted, you saw it right away, right? Traffic was down on the highways. When you would go out to our technology center, which is Canada here, parking lots were empty. And that's how we looked at it and said, oh, you know what? We're still in this recession. And then we started to see, cars filling up the parking lot, and it was a no-brainer. We saw, the rebound happening. And what you just said there, when you're talking about traffic falling by 30% during the recession, it's a leading indicator, isn't it? It may be a blip on one day, but if you're consistently dropping and then you're consistently moving up, those are key economic indicators about employment and health and health of a city and a nation. Would you look at it that way?
Exactly. We definitely, we're finding more and more uses of our data in that sense. We're actually looking to do something just as you described, is to be able to publish on a monthly basis an indicator based on traffic conditions that gives us a sense of sort of what's the state or the health of our economies and our cities, right? Because what we found too is we look back and we looked at over the last couple of years, the cities that were really hit hardest by the recession. So the Las Vegases, the ones that really were heavy on the real estate market, they're still kind of struggling, right? Traffic has not rebounded in those markets the way they have in other places. Now, places like Detroit, for example, that had over a 30% drop when the recession hit, is now actually climbed back quite healthily. as a result of the resurgence of the automotive industry in that sector. As we're seeing some resurgence in manufacturing and in retail, we're seeing those, typical hubs also are seeing increases in traffic, right? So, it definitely is an economic indicator. As we like to say, when, if you're fortunate enough to still have a job through the recession, you don't have a lot of traffic on your commute going to work, but you know what, your 401k and your stock portfolio is probably not doing so good, and vice versa when it's the other way around, right? So the one solace is you sit there in gridlock every day, and you're like, well, the economy's humming, and, my 401k must be on its way back, right? So you could take that solace as you sit there staring out the windshield for a few hours.
It's classic. It is. You know what? Well, at least I'm getting richer, as I sit here.
Exactly. At least, the time is money on some level, right? You're losing your precious personal time, but hopefully your portfolio is helping make up for it. But, the other thing that we're finding too, Rob, is really interesting is we're starting to uncover as we get, our data becomes more and more robust and becomes much and much more accurate, is we're finding that we're getting interest in our data from places that we hadn't really expected. What? So take, for example, we get an inquiry from time to time from hedge funds. These guys are interested in understanding what traffic conditions look like around big retail establishments as they're trying to get an early look at maybe what earnings might look like.
Love it.
Right? So take, like a big box retailer, like a Walmart or a Home Depot. Well, if there's a lot of traffic around the stores, well, they must be selling a lot. They're probably going to have a good quarter, right? So we get a lot of folks coming to us looking at this data for these other types of purposes that, quite frankly, we mostly just got in the business really to try to help people move easier, from place to place, and spend less time, money, and burn less fuel doing it.
See, that's really is so interesting about this technology because, if we bring it back to the essence, which is this mobile play, it's enabling all of this, isn't it? The pervasive nature of mobile technology. Now, I'm not just talking about smartphones, but I'm talking about in-dash operating systems like Ford Sync, or I'm talking about in-dash GPS, or I'm talking about even something, the equivalent, of an NFC chip or some kind of RFID chip or something like that really does enable this kind of massive mesh network to gauge traffic and congestion. But without all of this technology, you guys can't do this. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, over the last 3 years, you must have seen some insane change. Certainly, the data side alone, right? I think we're just beginning to really understand what this data means in terms of the economy, in terms of everything that we've talked about right now. But over the last 3 years, as GPS has gone from $6,000 or $10,000 in your dash to, $40 on my iPhone, the democratization of these tools has basically enabled it for everybody, including things like Google Maps and including your own application, which you guys offer for free on a cross-platform. Like that change, I don't think is ever heard of. That swift change. So, what has that impact been on you guys for data collection, for the data the big data that you're actually crunching, and the outcome of that data?
Yeah, it's really been kind of two major things. So, first off, I'll talk a little bit about automotive, what's changed. So what's changed and we're seeing in automotive is these cars are now becoming connected to the network, right, with a two-way connection, right? So it's not just able to deliver information down to the vehicle, but to be able to get information to come out of the vehicle. That has been a big change. So, for example, take a customer of ours like Ford, right? They traditionally have shipped about 10% or so of their cars have shipped with Ford Sync. In the next 2 years, that'll be probably about 50% of their vehicles, and they're going to start rolling out Sync across their entire product line, right? So that benefits Inrix from the sense when we think about the aggregation of data, and the more data helps our models do a better job of delivering more reliable, accurate information, we're experiencing a network effect just based on them growing and growing and growing out that install base. Mobile phones, right? GPS smartphones. I mean, you go look at the forecast numbers. I mean, they're continuing to grow and grow and go through the roof. And, a lot of these, premium iPhone applications for navigation are offering our traffic. And so organically, regardless of us, winning new customers or new deals with an automaker or a mobile app provider, our network is organically growing through our existing base just by the sake of the more and more technologies coming into these vehicles. And I know, you want to really focus on the mobile phone and the small screen here, Rob, in this discussion. But, what continues to come to mind to me was back in my ABU days, I remember sitting in some early meetings that the company was having with Toyota Motor Company that, unfortunately never produced anything substantial to date as far as what they've done like with Ford. But I remember Mr. Toyota saying in a meeting to Steve Ballmer saying, Steve, my competition is not necessarily other automakers. My competition is the mobile phone. And I thought that was very telling. I mean, if you think about it, the car is quickly becoming the ultimate mobile device. It's the biggest mobile phone you'll ever have, and it goes faster than anything you've ever owned, right? So it is that bridge, from when you have connectivity on your phone or at home, you get in your car, you want to have that same experience in your car. You want to be able to access your information, and that information should be relevant and useful to you in that environment, right? And that's really what we're trying to enable is, these guys that are selling, still selling fairly expensive navigation systems, embedded navigation systems in cars, they're competing with free on the mobile phone. How do they do that? Well, they're adding value-added services like traffic on top, and then you're seeing the mobile market quickly do the same thing. So it is a bit of there is a bit of this arms race going on to see who will win. The good thing for Inrix is we're agnostic. Either way it goes, we figure we could deliver value to however the customer is going to get that information.
Jim Bak, what can you say about Jim? I would implore you to go to Inrix, Inrix.com. Inrix is actually participating. Kevin Foreman, works for Inrix, is participating at Untethered Talks as well. Had to get that plug in there. Go and check him out. Go to Inrix.com. The full interview is up at untether.tv if you so choose. It is called Why Data is the New Frontier for Mobile Entrepreneurs. Just do a search for Inrix on untether.tv. I really appreciate, really appreciate Jim doing this. All right, on to some funding news. Big dollars being spent, Asif, and this is all funding. No M&A stuff this week, all funding. First story comes from EventUp. What is this thing? They close a little bit of money?
Yeah, 1.8 million. This is an interesting play. It's kind of like Airbnb or HomeAway, but for really high-end rental properties, the kinds of stuff that you see on TV shows and movie sets that get borrowed up. Houses, yachts, villas, all this kinds of stuff, castles, etc. Really cool stuff. So some of the properties on here are like you've seen them on shows like Entourage and things like that. Apparently, where you're booking them, but you can get them for reasonable rates. Like apparently $1,000 for the book a house, or the price range is $1,000 to $10,000. So it's kind of interesting. EventUp takes a 10% commission, so I like that. Company's making money. 1.8 million. Lightbank is the backer of this one. So, kind of cool.
I like it. You can get a nice penthouse, Soho penthouse suite for 50 people for $12,500. I'll tell you that
for that guy who really has to impress the lady, for the night. Hey,
it's worth it. $12,500. Well, I mean, we rented the Glenn Gould studio for Untethered Talks, and that cost us a pretty penny. Although you can fit 250 people in there, so. You pay for the quality, and I love the fact. This is cool because they're unique locations.
Yeah, and they've got over 3,000 venues already in there. So.
4 cities, though. Only 4 cities: New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago so far.
Yeah.
You get a Tuscan villa.
EventUp. There you go. 1.8 million.
Nice, good. Second funding. HotelTonight. A lot of buzz around these guys raising $23 million. There's a lot of buzz.
Yeah, and that's 23 million after they've only been around for 18 months, right? So, they're doing well. They've got some good pedigree though. I mean, these are guys who've sort of been there, done that before, right? So this money's coming from Excel, Battery Ventures, First Round Capital. They've raised in total 36 million. So so they got a lot there. What's the guy's name? Sam Shank and Chris Bailey, who so Sam's the CEO and Chris is the CTO. Both these guys were at Dealbase.com. So like I said, there's some pedigree there. And this is really a mobile app that's last minute hotel booking. There's lots of them out there, but they're going after that sort of very last minute distressed hotel inventory.
I love expiring inventory. Any company that can help me sell one more room, fill one more seat. If they're doing this on Hotel Tonight, they should be doing this on Restaurant Tonight. They should be doing this on Movie Tonight. They should be doing this on Show Tonight or Game Tonight. Something, right? Yeah, I like these guys. So Sam Shank, Jared Simon, and Chris Bailey. I like that. That's a lot of money. $30-something million that they've raised. And this is an app only, right? There's nothing here on the website. You need the app. Yep. Very cool. $23 million. All right, alluded to in the introduction, this is an interesting thing. LevelUp closing $12 million. I think that what's going on with Foursquare and LevelUp and Foursquare and LevelUp, this is the spin-off or the service from Scavenger that is now obviously standing alone. This is Seth.
Yeah, so this is all about sort of their effort to become a major player in the mobile payments ecosystem.
Money whenever I
emerging. And obviously LevelUp's got a loyalty plus angle around this. They've got about 3,000 merchants now, 8 cities. Having started from just Boston. The existing investors are all basically re-upped in this. So you got Highland Capital, Google Ventures, Balderton Capital, and a few others. So and I think LevelUp's making, this is pure expansion capital. They're making progress. They're starting to get some bigger chains on board now. They've got Johnny Rockets. They got Ben and Jerry's. They've got about 200,000 people using the LevelUp platform, and apparently spending $2 million a month. So
how many million a month?
$2 million.
Wow. Well, this is a far cry from when they did their they launched in Boston, right? They just launched in a few areas.
Yeah, this is no Square, but hey, in terms of transaction volume, I'm talking.
Yeah.
But functionally, in some respects, I think it's better.
Well, I think so as well. But Square is a facilitator, and these guys are also in the awareness making business. And I think
that's you got it.
Yeah. So LevelUp, $12 million. We like Seth. We like what we've always loved Seth. We'd always loved Seth to come back on the show. But
Seth, come on the show. Let's do it.
Come on, buddy. Anybody out there who can reach Seth? We've reached out. We've tried to schedule him, but we love what he's doing at LevelUp. And I think this is getting much more interesting. I think there's going to be even more consolidation. Can you imagine like a LevelUp, Foursquare, Yelp, kind of like, oh, that would be a killer company.
Yeah,
it would look like
lots of egos. Though.
It would look like this. Yeah, exactly. it would be messed. And then, but if you throw in like you do that, and then you throw in something like EventUp and Hotel Tonight in the mix, and it's like, oh God, that would be a company that you'd have like five CEOs of various ego sizes, but that company would be
like Avengers.
It would. It is. It's like location-based marketing Avengers. That is exactly what it is.
There you go.
Everybody fighting to be Tony Stark. Okay, those are the 3 funding. Come on, because Iron Man's the coolest. Those are the 3 funding items this week. They're pretty cool, pretty diverse. EventUp closing $1.8 million. Hotel Tonight, $23 million. And LevelUp, $12 million. If we've missed anything, reach out on tether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. Let us know if you've received funding, or if you think you should be on the show as a resource, or you got a story that you want to tell us and share. Reach out at those same email addresses, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma. Time to close this thing off so you can enjoy Vegas, the heat, our resource of the week. Asif, this is a good one, as usual.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because, there's a lot of discussion right now about mobile wallets and payments, and the conference I'm speaking at this week is exactly about that. This is from a group, I'm not familiar with the research firm, but it's called Carlisle and Gallagher Consulting Group. And the key stat on this is they found that they surveyed 600 consumers, and they found that 48% of them were interested in mobile wallets, but 53% of them said that they would prefer an alternate provider to give them that service than their primary bank. So they don't want, mobile wallets coming from their bank, their existing bank. They want someone else to give it to them. And when asked who, 8 out of 10 of them said PayPal.
What?
Would be good. Yeah. 6 out of 10 said Google, and 5 out of 10 said Apple.
Come on.
Yeah.
What about the credit card
really
companies?
Surprising data here, but the most surprising piece of that is they don't want their existing banking company to provide them with that. They prefer to go with somebody else.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
But what about the credit
So,
card companies?
Yeah. Nothing about them in this data. So.
And nobody chose their carriers, right?
No.
No.
Well, I don't know if that was on the list. Again, I didn't see the questionnaire. So.
Wow.
But,
8 out of 10 chose PayPal.
PayPal.
Wow. I'm speechless. I am speechless. Yeah. But that's an interesting statistic. But what about the credit card companies? Your bank has a lot of safeguards in there to be able to, protect you from fraud and theft. Wow.
Yeah, and there's always those carriers, that are trying to put it on the SIM. So anyways.
Interesting stat. So this is banks face competition on mobile wallets. You know what? This is going to be a battle that I don't think is going to be won anytime soon. We're going to go back and forth on this, and I think that people will want them until they start using them, and then they will go away for a little while, and then people will come back to them when they're actually useful and functional, and you can do everything from one wallet. So where can people find this? Can they get this up at thelbma.com?
Yep.
Okay, so go to the lbma.com/research, and it'll be one of the stories there. Banks face competition on mobile wallets from this study. 53% of interested consumers favor alternative provider. Wow! If I was a bank right now, with this torrent of activity that's about to come down the pipe from mobile, all transactions coming through mobile, I would be frightened right now as long as they didn't just ask 8 people.
Yeah. Well, it says 600, so I don't know.
600. 6 and 10 would use Google. 8 and 10 would use PayPal. And 5 out of 10 would use Apple. And you're already using Apple. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the resource. Great resource. So, Asif, I love that this brings out, some kind of controversy. Your call that PayPal is going to be the dominant platform for years to come. That's probably why you brought this story up, isn't it?
I don't know.
I didn't see Amazon on this list anywhere.
No, I didn't see Amazon on this list.
My God.
Anyway.
Well, that's it. Episode number 81, condensed version. You probably appreciated that fact. We are now well into our, we're cruising towards our mid-80s. If there's anything that we've missed here, please reach out, untether@gmail.com or Asif at the LBMA. Show up to the event on June 20th in Toronto. Show up to the event in June 26th and 27th in Toronto. We really appreciate the fact that you guys stick around and watch these things and participate and comment and actually retweet and show the love. As we said, we don't get paid to do this, but we certainly love doing it. So please continue your support. We really, 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 really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to sponsor, let us know about that too.
Yeah, we are accepting. Our audience is growing. The fact that you're watching it is a testament to the fact that our audience is growing. So now it's like you and Asif's parents and my mom.
There you go.
You can reach those guys. Very targeted. And you guys can have it.
There you go.
All right, Asif.
And hey, those Blue Jays finally got a win today. 12-4. Ricky Romero pulled it off.
That's right. Well, go Jays.
Anyways.
All right, so listen, Asif, enjoy Vegas. Next weekend is Father's Day. It is going to be another great show because this week coming up, we've got Apple with massive announcements coming up this week at their conference, and I think that's all everybody's going to be talking about. We're gonna do our best to bring you some non-Apple news next week, but I'm sure there will be a few stories about Apple. But until then, until we see you for episode number 82, thank you guys for watching this week in location-based marketing. Asif, be safe in Vegas, man.
Thanks.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.